welcome these two friends, both of whom have taken on the crucial and very complex task of stewarding two of the 20th century's most important legacies in art and design. Both are also committed to the real, through material, space, and heritage, in a world that is becoming increasingly less governed by these same measures of quality. You know, there was sort of two things that were coming up. There was Jeff Koons's thoughts on care and the mandatory AI question. So I'm going to latch on to the care theme rather than the AI one. Thank you, Jeff. And you're both caring for a legacy, but there's also care between the two of you. You're both friends, and you've recently collaborated. Yeah. I'd like to start with that project that brought your work into your environment. Tell me about the project, and what was it about the two of you and your relationship of friendship that made that possible?
So we met a few years ago, and through common friends, and honestly, I would have never asked to Flavin, oh, can we do a Paulin exhibition in the Judd Foundation? And like one day, after a few years we knew each other, he proposed me, oh, we should do something, and I was like, oh, wow. It's crazy. So I was super happy to do it. And then Flavin have an amazing idea for this exhibition, focusing on the modular project my father developed in the late 60s for Herman Miller, but that was never produced at the time. And
right, this was the very first time you produced something that never had been produced before.
No, this is actually all our story, is producing the dream that never came true.
Right.
So I grew up on the, the rejected pieces, so the prototypes, and I'm doing like the first late edition. So it's not technically re-edition; it's like first editions.
Yeah.
But and so it was amazing to be able to talk about it with Flavin and to present it in the context of this wonderful place that's the Judd Foundation in New York.
And Flavin, your that 101 Spring Street iconic space in New York is also very known for its sort of rigorous purity. What was how was it to sort of have these different creations within that space?
Well, it's the one space in all of the foundation that we can have exhibitions, because everything else is taken up, basically. So we've had quite a few exhibitions, and it's very, very loosely curated. Like, we like that, okay. So there's no contradiction. I vaguely knew of Benjamin's father's work before I met him, but obviously learned much more after we met. And it just seemed like a really interesting fit. And it's hard. It's actually hard to have exhibitions of furniture, because it's just furniture, and it's just you put it around, and you're like, well, okay, it looks like a table. So this particular project was interesting because it was a whole office based on a grid, and the carpet and the sofa and the tables and everything worked together, and that's what was interesting. So that visually you had this much more immense effect than just, again, putting some tables out in the middle of a room. So that's what made it interesting for a show.
And it's funny because when we started, I remember I proposed you, like, oh, let's do the declive, like this modular piece that would take the whole room. And then you were, yeah, but people will think it's art and it needs to be designed. And yeah, he was totally right about that.
There were still two very different vocabularies, right? Working together. You're very sort of, the Paulin vocabulary is very sensual. How does that, and you said this is more like the 101 Spring Street is a little more freer for you. What role did that sort of sensuality come into?
I don't know. We're totally sensuous. I don't know.
Yeah, very sensual.
You see where I'm going with this.
I think my father would have hate to be called sensual because it was absolutely. I promise it was really accidentally
Was it?
sensual because it was really into functional design, and accidentally it was like very kind and sensual,
Right.
but it was not intentional, I think.
Okay, unintentional sensuality.
Exactly.
Perhaps that's the next on our list of things to discuss. Jeff Koons's care and our unintentional sensuality that we're sharing with
Let's
you
do it.
right now. Yeah. Don't laugh, Lou. I'd like to talk about attention for a moment. This is something that's also a very current idea. We've been touching, or the other speakers have been touching on it a little bit. We as observers or participants in or consumers of art or design, we are bringing our attention to those objects and our attention into those spaces. Flavin, I think that you, or rather, you've been quoted a few times saying that, telling people to put their phones away, that you somehow, you strongly advocate that the experience of real art should be
You should
not
be there.
through a screen.
You should be there.
Exactly.
Otherwise, then you're not there. So I mean,
Right.
it's self-evident.
It is self-evident. Yeah. So you feel the mediated message is a barrier to understanding?
Yeah, and I mean, two dimensions are nice. It's okay, but like a really good artwork, you can't take a good photograph of it. You can't learn much. So that's kind of an indication that there's more going on there than just an image. That's not to say that, images aren't great. It's just they're received in a different way.
That's right. But what about accessibility? Would you agree that a digitalization or like maybe a 3D visit of a space?
It's the wrong way to go.
You do, okay.
Yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Don't do 3D visit.
I'm not endorsing that.
When it comes to design, it's very evident that you need to try it. So it's great. There is a lot of people who are doing like interiors with 3D apps and everything, and it looks very nice and amazing on a picture, but it's impossible. And and also you cannot try it. So your design has to be experienced. It's not just visual.
So how do you encourage people to then, in real life, experience furniture, in your case, space and artwork?
By doing furniture. So they have to try it, I guess.
It's a very simple and direct
very
answer.
simple.
Thank you. Okay. But there's something about maybe things becoming too easy these days, and I think you're both stating that you're ambassadors of a non-easy route, so not making everything available to visit or consume via a digital manner or via screen, but to do that in real life. Like, how do you find that difficulty, or how do you think that making things easy diminishes the experience?
It just depends on what it is. Movies you can watch on an iPad, and it's not terrible. So, but you're not going to figure out a room from an iPad. You won't learn anything. So you'll learn much more in a space. You'll figure out how it smells, the way the traffic comes in through the windows, all these little details that are the thing have to be experienced. So it really depends on.
Yeah, and also the whole context.
Yeah.
Like for example, for the Spring Street, you have to discover the old building is not the same thing if you can do the visit with the Google.
Is there a I want to say fetishization of analog, where these days when we're confronted with this ease or maybe like a crappier version of the real thing, and it's also sort of trendy to collect vinyl records. I work in print media. I'm a big ambassador of the importance of maintaining print media, but do you find that sometimes we're fetishizing the past and maybe not accepting new versions of things because we're stuck a little bit?
I think that's possible, but I think also the culture is in some ways going backwards. And I mean, for instance, Jeff's art when it came out was super radical. Nobody had seen it. And you're hard pressed to find some art that has the same effect now. I mean, there are a lot of painters, bless their hearts, that are doing acrylic paintings, and we've that's okay, but we've seen that. So what's next? So I think there's some connection between the fetishization of the past and not making radical work that's going on, but I don't know what it is. But in our case, we're we're in the past anyway, so
Right.
we don't,
Well,
don't have to worry about it.
That's true, but how do you navigate that? The kind of the line between nostalgia and maybe current relevance.
I just don't worry about it.
You don't.
I mean, in our case, we have a lot of buildings in Texas. We have a building in New York, and the job was leave it as it is. And so that's pretty simple. There's not a lot to decide. And once that decision was made, it was like, okay, let's just try to do that.
Right.
And the interpretation of that, I leave to somebody else. Oh my gosh, that's not my job. Yeah. It's hard enough keeping entropy at bay. I don't need to worry about,
About
the semiotics of everything.
Okay. And Benjamin, how do you
We did a bit the
navigate that?
opposite because we were working on the part of my father's career that never happened in the real world. So we are producing, like I said, the dream that never came true at the time. So based on the rejected pieces, we are projecting in the world a new iconography of
Right.
my father's design that were never really shown. And it's I think very interesting because a lot of artists are or creators, are very well known for a period of their work when it comes to design, and we talk about re-editions because we think, oh, this was so famous, we will go re-edition on those
Right.
pieces, but we are not expecting all new collections of pieces that nobody knew. And in my father's case, this is what happened, and I'm glad that he now knows a new pop era somehow with those pieces that were rejected at the time.
Right, your navigation of that point kind of comes naturally in a way because
Yeah.
you're creating new pieces from a legacy design.
I wouldn't say creating, but yes,
yeah.
producing, yeah.
Producing.
Yeah.
Producing. Okay. Beyond the foundations, or archives, you both are your own people. Also, you're not, your sole your sole purpose on this earth is not to maintain your family's legacy, but you have your own. Benjamin, I know that you're also a musician, and you're doing a project now, which I believe is called Sounds Like Paulin,
Yeah,
which is a music listening room.
a bit more than that.
That's
but
why I'm bringing
it started
up.
like
We
that.
would love to hear about it in your words.
Actually, I was a bit bored. We did few exhibitions talking about some ways to look at Paulin's furniture. And for example, the previous exhibition we made was focusing on the tables, my father designed from the 50s to the 90s. And then during the exhibition, we made it also with a lot of dinners because we wanted to use the table not just to show it as a statement, but also to use it in the function. And so making all those dinner, I thought, we should do a restaurant. And now every time I'm thinking of doing an exhibition, I wanted to have a continuation in the real life after the exhibition, not just to be an event, but to become a project. So Sounds Like Paulin started as a project, as an exhibition, and now is a music label project, is many projects around the Sounds Like Paulin projections. It started because somehow, because probably I was coming from the music myself, I was passionate about a lot of artists, and at some point when I started to work on my father's legacy, they wanted to meet me. And I was super happy because I wanted to meet them before. And so it created an amazing connection between us. And then I started to, I'm sorry, to work for a lot of them and to go a lot in studios, and so at some point I wanted to transform part of my house in a studio also to welcome them when they are in Paris. And now we are recording a lot of projects, and we are about to launch this label projects very soon.
And so this is also like another, let's say, friendship-based
Yeah,
project.
it's always very organic.
Right.
But
And would you? I mean, how do the two of you see your friendship evolving in the future? And is there a connection to be made again beyond what you've just done at the 101 Spring Street space?
I don't know. I hope.
He hasn't heard my guitar playing
I'm putting
yet.
him
Yeah,
on the
yeah. Let's
spot,
do some
yeah.
guitar.
Flavin, what's your musical talent?
I don't have one.
Nor do I.
So,
You're a very good listener.
maybe.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? What else should we talk about right now? I think that you know, you both show us that there's this this sort of living aspect to heritage, that you know, whether you're preserving it or doing new projects. I think that you know, you sort of ensure this bridge between past and future. So, what's your take on AI?
I tried it a lot. I used it sometimes, like for boring emails, like immediately. And but I played a lot with all the, you know, those music app, also like Suno or all that things. And honestly, it's amazing because it works like crazy. But I think some people are afraid about it, and I personally think that. Now all the mediocre things you can listen to radio and you can do it like that. You can do it. I can do it in 30 seconds. So it will kill mediocrity. So and it will help, like I mean, good artists or good creative people. And so I think it's a blessing, somehow.
I've never used it. I have no idea.
Yeah.
So you're of the Loudoyan school of
I'm
AI.
with the pens and
Lou
paper.
Tim.
The pens and paper.
Yes.
and I'm like the ambassador of print media with
Wow.
my notes on an iPad. It's, you know,
Very
we
modern.
live through contradiction. How about we get some questions?
Sure.
Timothée.
I can just. So you both inherited very, very large bodies of work and very, you know, large family names. I'd love to hear from both of you how what the process was in terms of kind of coming to terms with what your role is with respect to that kind of lineage and with the work. I know it's probably very, you know, very individual and very different for both of you, but I'd love to hear from both of you.
I'm sorry, I'm not sure I understand. What do you mean?
How do you come to terms with, how do you find your
Demandez en
place
français.
in comment est-ce que tu trouves ta place
Oh.
dans la filiation du travail de ton père? Comment est-ce que
You know, I think I discovered really, you know, I grew up, of course, with my father, but it was just my father. I really didn't care about design when he was alive because I was doing music and he hated my music and I didn't care about his design, but I loved him as a father. And then when he passed, I really needed I missed him so hard that I really needed to find a way to create a new connection with him. So I really went into the archives and got passionate about it, and I realized that because of course I grew up in his world, I understood everything like very quickly and in a very easy way, and I started to get passionate to discover his life as a creative, and I never really chose to work on my father's design. It was not a choice. I just did it and it worked, and so I never really had the moment to say, oh, am I really want to do that? I know, it just happened, and it was like a tornado, like, so I just went. And so now I'm very happy to do it because it's an amazing family project, and my mother is still part of it. And my wife, she also was in fashion, and she left this, and she's working with me, and our daughters are very happy with it. So I mean, I love it, and it's amazing also to work on this this period, like the 50s, 60s, 70s. first of all, because we are recontextualizing it. We don't want to. We are not attached to the vintage visual like. And my father was not neither. So I'm the biggest Paulin collector. So I bought a lot of pieces in the last 10 years, and I'm building a museum now in the mountains in the south of France. But I'm not selling those, or I'm not in this business. I'm more in projecting like the dreams, and I don't think like vintage design has more value than produced. So it's not my belief. Yeah, no, I mean, it's what is amazing is that the positivity from this moment of time, like from the 50s, 60s, 70s, is like something we are living with like every day. And yeah, I mean, it's really a blessing, honestly. Yeah, I think.
In my case, I was 25 when my father died, and I always knew that he wanted a foundation that was. We talked about it, he discussed it, and I thought it was something that lawyers did. But that after he died, the lawyers don't know anything at all, and his assistants were not ethical, so we had to get rid of them. So it turned out my sister and I were the only people who could do it. And like Benjamin, we knew the language already, so it was very easy for us to like look at projects and buildings and know what was supposed to happen. We didn't have to teach anybody. So we made a decision when he died that, okay, we have to try. What he wants is insane, like preserve everything forever with $10 million in debt. I mean, it's a contradiction. But we said, we have to try. You can fail later, but you try first, not the other way around. So yeah, 30 years later, we're still trying. So.
So your father passes away when you're 25 years old. Prior to that, you're growing up in the heart of New York, heart of Soho, and what was going on all around you, all of those energies, was really different than your father's work, in a sense that your father, in a sense, let's say more minimalist, where New York and the art forms that were kind of evolving out of the 1980s, 70s, the 80s, even up to the 90s. There was a lot of this hectic, urban, grimy. Soul was really grimy at the time.
I was a graffiti writer.
I was going to that.
So
You were
there's no there's no contradiction in any of these things. They're just different things.
And I love that. I was about to go into you being a writer. What of your personal influences and all of that energy that you absorbed help you and your sister to go into the foundation?
I don't know, because we were really thrown in the middle of a tornado, and there's only so many times you can talk to an accountant and try to ask questions. So,
To learn on your own.
yeah, no, it was very much learn on your own as you go kind of thing. And at that time, 1994, there were no art foundations. There was just the negative model of what happened to the Rothko family and how everything fell apart. So there were no actual positive models anywhere. So we didn't really talk to anybody. So it was very much kind of make it up as you go.
Yeah.
So.
Did it ever seem like a burden?
Yeah.
Like the burden of responsibility?
Yeah,
like
what? Where's the $50 million I'm supposed to use?
Right,
to do this?
you were like saddled with this somehow. But then, I mean, in your case especially, and I think in yours also, it's become a gift.
It's I agreed to do it. It's like, what are you gonna do? And we still, I'm older now, I'm 57. My sister is 55. We're getting on, so we have to think of a succession plan and how this keeps going. So that's interesting. That's new problems, because we're not going to be around forever to do it by ourselves personally. But also at the same time, I see how hard it is when an artists talking about care, artists care a lot about certain things. And that is manifested in everything they do. And if you change one little thing of theirs without knowing it, you'll fuck it up. Mm. So it's interesting trying to pass that kind of viewpoint on to somebody else who hasn't grown up with it. Because to me, it's very clear and very reflexive.
It's like a very risky, risky passing on of the responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, you can mess up a lot with just putting grass in the
Yeah.
wrong place. So
In my
Yeah.
case, it's a bit different. My father was not seeing himself as an artist, so we don't have the same approach. Like I see what he did more as a language, and like the project we created is called Paulin, Paulin, Paulin. So it's from Pierre Paulin, but it's like a echoes of Pierre Paulin. So it could transform in music and any other direction, because like we take this energy, we are producing some pieces of furniture exactly as he decided, but we can also build from this spirit in different direction. I'm not interested in being an industrial project and producing shares for everybody like this. There is already many very cool brands who are doing it, and we just want to I don't know, to take this this spirit and to share it with people. So music is one way we are using to do that, and of course furniture is always central in what we are doing. But we don't. The project is not to sell a lot of furniture. It's just to continue to exist and to share this spirit.
So somewhat freer. Is there another question? Stefan.
You spend most of your time in New York or in Texas or both?
both,
Back and forth?
back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you see one project more important than the other?
they're the same. Yeah, the building, Marfa is 20 buildings, New York is one building, and they're the same thing. They're just different locations. Yeah. So there's a little more variability in Marfa because of all the different spaces. We have 3 ranch houses, stuff like that. So.
No more questions?
Don't touch the sculpture.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thanks.
much.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.